The first order of business within the endeavor of SOULCRAFT, of Neolithic SOULCRAFT, is coming to the conviction, arriving at the belief that you actually do have an electromagnetic component to your consciousness, to your self, to your Atman. And once that has been established, once the conviction is there within your intellectual cosmology, then the true work can begin to prioritize your eternal, energetic, electromagnetic self, your Atman, your true self, which is an individuated fractal of God, essentially. Now, in my own experience, without a shadow of a doubt, I know that the human animal body is only a prison cell for the soul within a larger prison setup, Earth, third dimension Earth, a maximum security prison which no one will ever escape from unless they go within, turn within, and access their soul. In my own experience, when I began to receive downloads, higher energetic pulses, that began officially, in my mind, distinctly recall August 11th of 2021, which, as you may or may not know, falls within the August 8th to August 12th Lionsgate Portal, where the star Sirius, Sirius A, I believe, lines up directly with our sun. And on August 11th of 2021, I woke up one morning and I was not able to really get out of bed because I was transfixed by these sensations, these visualizations, these concepts that were not just words, but were downloads, I guess, information packets that were being experienced through the third eye, through the projection screen of the inner mind. And not only that, it was all combined with emotions, with ontological convictions. I was living these downloads, this information, which, as I understand through research and hindsight, I was receiving the energies of the fourth ray from that Lionsgate Portal of 2021, August 11th, where the heart center was being pulsed with the energies of what they call the fourth ray, the fourth chakra, the fourth energy vortices. And along with that experience, which culminated, as I identify, September 24th of 2021, a little over a month time, with a full Kundalini activation. But in that process, I realized, I woke up one morning and I was trapped. I realized that there was an aspect of my consciousness that was being liberated and elevated, that perceived a physical entrapment. And it was suffocating, it was stifling, it was downright terrorizing, terroristic. It was horrific, that's the word. To the point where I believed that I was in hell. My consciousness perceived that it was in hell. And like any good boy, I called my mother and told her that I was in hell. So anyway, she helped me through that psychologically, but that was part of the process. And I understand that if you get into the works of Rudolf Steiner and such, this was all part of the meeting the lurker upon the threshold, the dweller on the threshold, which is your past karmic actions, all of your life up until that point, where I believe I was in the presence of evaluation, of my heart weighed against truth, the feather of truth, as I understand it. But it was a balancing. It was my higher self taking stock, taking inventory of my life to that point. And along with being admitted into the higher dimensions, of escaping that prison of my consciousness, being freed from the third dimension and allowed into the higher dimensions through the heart chakra, I took an oath. I made an oath about how I was going to live my life from that point on. It was a very serious psychological, yes, because it was, definitely within my own mental cosmology, but it was life-changing. And there were physical experiences with the Kundalini, with the force of the Kundalini and all that you may or may not be familiar with, to involve a highly visual laser purple light flower, violet purple flower just flowering through my mind, which eventually set me free from that whole psychological experience, which was very intense. But the first step in this journey of soulcraft is recognizing that beyond the word, beyond the concept, that you do possess an eternal energetic aspect. And people may or may not be familiar with that to the level that I am. But once we recognize soul, your eternal electromagnetic aspect, and assimilate with it, we allow it from heaven to come to earth, so to speak, the higher dimensions, the higher energies to come to earth. Once we recognize our eternal Atman and assimilate with it, we become higher dimensionally conscious. We become sovereign, integral soul carriers of individuated first source. Once we prioritize the energy that is within us, that is the fractal of the all that is the creative aspect of this electric, intelligent universe, of this sentient, morphogenetic mind of God. Once the soul is proven beyond any doubt to your convictions, to your mental assessment, beyond any doubt, more and more soul activation will occur. The more you prioritize the soul activity, the more that it will assimilate into your life, and the more you will see the miracles of white magic take place. And until duality melts back into unity, this truth will become obvious to those that have become sovereign carriers, that have turned to the right in meditation, that have had similar mystical experiences. And that is the journey, the first step of the journey of soulcraft, of recognizing that this eternal aspect, electromagnetic aspect, fractal of source, God awareness exists, and that you prioritize your life towards that, towards the expansion of that, towards the further assimilation of that within your own third dimension reality, which soon becomes fifth dimension, high reality, where you're in constant contact with source, where you're, whatever you call it, your guardian angel, but the life becomes miraculous. So please, turn to the right, meditation, however it is that you can begin to activate, assimilate your eternal electromagnetic aspect of yourself. We call it the soul. I'm trying to bring in more scientific languages and such, and I'll realize that goal as I go ahead with these videos. And hopefully this resonates with somebody. But if anything, the Umbanda New Earth Ashram for Compassion and Strength, I would say that the mission from day one has just been to testify. Not that I'm any kind of expert on this, but to share my experience, life-transforming experience of this new dimension of life that essentially set me upon a path of a new life. And it essentially was beyond, it was the perfect introduction to Hermeticism, to white magic, to soul magic, to all of that. But basically, it was a split of the animal aspect of myself with the higher energetic aspect, the eternal energetic aspect. And it was a gateway to a new life. Beginning certainly on September 24th, 2021, I turned away from my old life, which had led me up to the very gates of hell. But you see, darkness does serve its purpose to expose you to new, higher levels of light. And I want to say this to you, dear, esteemed, honorable, noble, and notable viewer. Enter ye by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And many there be that entereth thereat. For narrow is the gate and straitened is the way that leadeth unto life. And few there be that find it. And I sincerely hope that you find it, and you find it as soon as possible. Namaste. Namaskaram. breathe.